It's showtime.
It's Comics Talk Live! With Snuggy Jr. Aldous. Lord Ravener. And your host, Lord Kraken. And now, ladies and gentlemen, here's Comics Talk Live.
A gay, pleasant evening for all.
Good evening, friends. Do you have a friend from Southern California? Is he constantly complaining? Well, you're in luck. With membership in the Lord Ravener fan club, you can replace that friend with someone infinitely cooler. Lord Ravener. The Ravener fan club needs you, but more importantly, you need to join the Ravener fan club. Click the link today. The Lord Ravener fan club is for-profit industry and has no association with either Lord Ravener or Comic Talk Live. All statements are based on minimal facts that have no actual evidence to back them up. Callers are standing by, mainly because we're too cheap to buy chairs for them.
And I actually have here a letter was written to me by a fellow who's very, very fond of the Lord of the Rings. And he asked me in the letter why they didn't just fly the eagles into Mordor. And I told him I get this same question. The people run into me at the pub and ask why didn't they just fly the eagles to Mordor? It would have made the quest a whole lot easier. And I told him the same thing that I'm telling you right now. Shut up.
Shut up, indeed. Man, what I wouldn't have give to hear that clip live. What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another Saturday night edition of Comic Talk Live. And we have a very, very fun topic that we're going to be diving into tonight. And I'm sure you guys have heard by now, the topic has definitely been making the rounds over the last few days and weeks. And that is the boycott Kickstarter debacle, the debate that is going around to boycott or not to boycott, to kickstart or not to kickstart. That is the question these days.
There's a debate?
Apparently, yeah, there's
really?
There's a debate. Yes, there's a debate.
I thought usually to have a debate, like both sides had to have well-articulated points.
Well, that's not for me to judge. That is not for me to judge. All I know is there's two sides to everything, and we're going to dive into all of those sides
the wrong
tonight.
side and the right side.
We're going to dive into all of those sides tonight and see exactly what we can see. And, of course, we definitely want to hear from you, the chat, as well, and definitely want to know what you guys think on the topic as well. As always, we love to know what you guys think. But, yeah, we're going to dive into all of it tonight. We are going to dive into all of it. And it should be fun. It should be very fun. And, of course, we got later on, towards the end of the episode, we are going to be diving into the official first look that we have gotten on Dune Part 2. So any Dune fans, definitely stick around after the Kickstarter boycott discussion if you want to talk some Dune, because we're going to dive into all of the new stuff that we recently saw. But, yeah, I'm looking forward to it because, like I said, there has been a debate going on about this whole Kickstarter thing. I am very much on the side of I'm not a creator, so I don't really have too much skin in this game. This is really a question for the creators who are planning on launching on whatever platform they plan on launching. But just me personally, if I was a creator, I would be trying to maximize my business potential to the fullest degree. But that's just me. We're going to dive into all of that tonight. And, of course, definitely want to know what you guys think as well. But joining us, as always, Snuggy Jr. What is up, Snug?
Hey, how's it going? Wrapping up this bookmark versus stickers fulfillment this week. 75% of it's been shipped out. I packed up a bunch of packages today. And by next weekend, hopefully everybody will have their stuff, except for the international people. They're going to have to wait for however long it takes the boat to get to them. But it's been great seeing everybody putting their stuff up on Twitter. Looks like everybody's happy with what they got.
Yeah.
So it's great.
It is. It's awesome. It is really awesome. I know you and Phoenix have been working hard behind the scenes to get those metal ones, hammered out and hammered out right. And we finally got it done. And yeah, people are getting them now. So it's awesome to see them things pop up on Twitter. These days, it seems like I'm seeing at least one new stickers versus bookmarks post on Twitter almost every day. So they're definitely getting them. They are definitely getting them.
Yep.
Awesome. Stiff. And joining us, as always, Lord Ravener, who is still rocking his beard that he spent a good amount of time on, from what I hear.
Yeah, I spent like 17 hours in Photoshop getting that beard just perfect. So, yeah. Yeah, man, good to be here. Good to see everybody tonight. Medium spice level tonight, I think. But I wanted to mention one other thing, and I didn't mention this for the show or anything. There's this guy that does deep fakes of it's Joe Rogan as a dungeon master, and it has Donald Trump, Elon Musk, Gordon Ramsay, and then a fourth character that kind of
What?
alternates running a Dungeons and Dragons campaign.
What?
But it's
What
so
the
hilarious.
hell?
All
You have to give us a link
AI.
for that.
It's
This
called
sounds
the AI
amazing.
guy. It's this link here. I just posted it in the chat, but it's so bizarre and it's so funny. Donald Trump plays a wizard named
Jeez.
Tronald. Yeah.
What the fuck?
It's so bizarre and fun. Check it out, guys, if you want. See if you like it.
After the show. After the show.
Yeah, after the show. But I enjoyed that. It's just something I stumbled on. So
Awesome.
that's
Awesome.
all
Well,
I got.
apparently Deerman has seen them before as well, and he is also a fan. So yeah. All right.
Cool,
Well, yeah, I
cool.
might have to take a look at that later.
Yeah.
And joining us last, but certainly not least, fresh off the farm on Orwell Lane. What is up, Aldous? How's it going, my
Hey,
friend?
it's going great, man, and good evening to all. It's always great to be here. I look forward to this every Saturday. And thanks to everybody that's checked out my new show over on Jeremy's Comic Talk channel, The Gutter. For those of you with
Yes.
taste that have avoided watching it, I will continue to strive to find a way to lure you, to draw you down into the muck with me as we talk about great comics and their connections to contemporary books.
Yeah, we got to draw everybody down to the gutter.
Absolutely. Eventually, everybody gets there, man. And hey, congratulations to Jason Sandberg, who grinded his way on Jupiter to over 5K this week.
Nice.
And a continued shout out. Everybody here loves him. To Clint Stoker for Downcast #4 over at Sweetcast Comics. Jason Hojo's another guy that's been out there grinding. He was almost at $8,000 between his 3 platforms that he's got his book on, the Mythicals. So all those guys are a great small sample of creators that are just going out there and living up to the ideals of what it means to be an indie creator in this space instead of secondhand matchstick salesman.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, it is a business at the end of the day, and it's not easy to run a business. But that is, at the end of the day, what we're doing here. Well, what the creators are doing here. Yes, it is a comic book. You're definitely selling a product, but at the end of the day, you've got to structure it like a business. At least that's how I think. So yeah, I'm going to enjoy diving into this topic tonight and seeing where everybody else lands as well, because it's interesting. It's definitely interesting. That's for sure.
Well, here's the thing. I want to say this at the beginning. I think this is now the 4th time that we've talked about this. And each time we always come to the same consensus, and each time it's because the same people are saying don't use it. And Stippling Vaughn had a really good video out earlier where essentially it's almost everybody agrees, like, let the creators go to wherever they want. And it's just a handful of people that are sitting there telling people what not to do, which kind of strikes me as being against what the whole movement started as. You're an independent creator. Really focus on that independent part, I guess.
Yeah, and it does seem that the ones that are most interested in the boycott are the ones that have the largest platforms to promote their stuff. And if you don't have access to a large audience on YouTube, then how are you supposed to get out? How are you supposed to get the word out from your book if you're not able to get onto the larger streams?
Right. Well, looks like Jeremy dropped.
Oh, yeah.
I just. Oh, there he goes. Connection issues. So yeah, I mean, it's just. I think it's. I don't understand the concept of telling people where they can or can't go, or why anybody would even listen. Again, it's an independent thing.
They shouldn't.
Go out there and make money however you can. Whether it's a website, a storefront, like I said in the chat to Sontag, wherever you can get your book in front of people that can buy it, go forth, young man. Mm-hmm. Your job is to make money, and these things are not cheap to make. So especially if you're in that like sub 15K group where, every nickel is needed for you to fund and get this thing not just printed, because that's initially you should be funding your art and your book, on a separate, and just use the crowdfund to get, actual printed, because you've got the length of time of that product in the market to pay for the art. And yeah, that curve might be really long, but that's why you grind, man. That's why we constantly talk about that grind. And, that's the hard part. anybody can do the rounds and go through and do that stuff and show up on shows and push their product. It's a lot harder to after that's over and the hype's gone. It's after that day 4. How do you keep on pushing it? How do you keep it relevant? And the people that master that do it really well, are the ones that are out there every day that truly believe in their product and grind. And it doesn't matter where you're directing people. You truly believe in your book, they'll buy it.
And there's active selling and there's passive selling. I mean, you've got the being on the streams and kind of promoting yourself, but you've also got the people who were just browsing through the comic section on the crowdfunding website. If it's on Indiegogo and it's shadow banned, they're not going to see it. But so why not have it on another site? Why not have it on Kickstarter where there's another audience that can just be browsing through and seeing what you've got and gives you a shot? So I think that Pt2, who launched his Zorro book today, is kind of doing it right. Not he's the only one that's doing it right, but it's a good example for something that just launched today. And he's got his own website he's funding on. He's got it on Indiegogo and he's got it on Kickstarter. So that's 3 different places where people can find the book if they want to back it. And ultimately, you want to get more eyes on your book to grow your audience.
Yeah, well, I thought we didn't synchronize our opinions, before the show or anything, but I don't really have anything. A lot of these are exactly what I have written down for my notes too. You make your money where you can make it. Don't hamstring yourself for some weird allegiance to people who are trying to get you to work against your own interests. They're not offering answers on what to do if you're shadow banned, or they're not offering alternatives. It's just, we'll have to figure something out. And then repeating the same, build your brand nonsense while you have so-called kings bragging about streaming over other creators. So right. Build your brand, but also do what we say, but also we're going to work against you. But also if you fail, it's not our fault. It's your fault. Your work wasn't good enough.
Right.
When you, I
don't know. I mean, you're right. I mean, a lot of the streams, like if you can't get on one of the larger streams, you can easily get on the smaller streams, but here you're talking about, anywhere from, 5 to 20 to maybe 30 viewers. And,
right.
That's
even if you get on the big one, you have to sit through a 4-hour snore fest with the offer of letting you pitch for 5 minutes. And then they'll count that as promoting the little guys, but that's not going to replace running a 60-day campaign on a platform where you're not shadow banned,
right.
Well, and even then, it doesn't matter. I mean, I've actually had this conversation with Hojo very early in his. I'm like, you can go on Bancroft and then you can come on over here. And that's great. That's fantastic. But you're talking to 80 to 90% of the same audience. There's a lot of bleed over. So you got to find realms and spaces where you're talking and getting your book in front of new people. And that's really hard if you stay in the same pond. Mm-hmm. And what you need to do is branch out, find other shows, find other things. Iron Age is out there. They're doing pretty well.
Yeah.
Now, does that mean you just slap an Iron Age hashtag on? Absolutely not. That makes you look like a poser, just moving into their movement and throwing it on there. Don't do that if you haven't been around in it. The same way we can spot people that come over here and try to fund, they can do it. So you don't want to do that. But you can certainly go and knock on their door and see, because there's definitely shared ideals. They're looking to push their money. They're looking to push good product, just like everybody over here is. You see people over here pushing, certain things that are from over there, like Razorfist's book or Ripa's book. That cross promotion, all that matters is it's indie at the end of the day.
Yep. And Jason Sandberg's another one I've seen in the last week of pushing onto other streams and getting onto another comic. Well, it's I guess an indie comic, or I'm not how you sort of describe it. They mostly talk about mainstream stuff, but he managed to get onto there to talk about his book, and he got a few people backing it. So put the work in and see what who will let you come on and promote.
For sure, man.
And I mean, people are desperately trying to latch on to Razor Fist the same way they desperately tried to latch on to Ripa, and they think that it's just going to keep going up and up and the next biggest guy, but they also think that all the every big YouTuber just dreams of launching a comic too, which I don't know that everybody that might be their dream, but it isn't everybody's dream,
right.
So I mean, how much did the Godslap guy bring over to us? And he was one of the first ones, right? The first ones that were successful. How much has Shadiversity brought to us?
Yeah.
Right.
No,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, I think there's some too that you look at what Quinn's Ideas did. He did his book, and he said, he goes, that was a lot more work than I thought for what I got, and I think he was around 50K for what his draw was. But yeah, it's a lot of work, and it's a lot of cost, especially if you're hiring an if you're hiring a penciler, you're hiring an inker, you're hiring a colorist, you're hiring a letter, then you got to print it, then you got to do fulfillment. Just like what Snuggy went through just with the bookmarks, even he's saying, like, man, that was a lot more work than I expected, because it is.
Yeah,
And
film's a pain in the ass.
unless you're truly passionate about it, unless you really want to deal with all of that, man, that's they might try it once, but unless they just go gangbusters and make a boatload of money, it's really not worth it for a
Mhm.
lot of them, because
Yeah.
they're, again, man, these are professional YouTubers. They make their coin off of doing that, and man, every minute they're spent fulfilling is a minute that they are not doing a YouTube video, which is their bread and butter. So it's a time sink for them. So I don't think you're going to see that. And
Right.
even if you did, they're selling to their own audience, which has, like Ravener said, little bleed over. So
Right.
just like they're not bringing anybody here, they're also not really pushing anything or gathering anybody from here. It's self-contained silos marketing.
Yeah, and Ripa went in with the idea of starting a Ripa verse. So he of all the ones that are out there, I think he has the greatest chance. I still don't think number 2 is going to do as well as number 1. The question is, will it be 30% less? Will it be 50% less? That's more of the question. But he's at least trying to expand his verse so that the net take, when he expands onto like secondary characters and that kind of stuff, at least he's intending to create a comic world. Now, I don't know if Jay's book, Drunk 3PO's book, is supposed to be one of a series. Not sure about. I mean, I'm assuming Shadowversities is supposed to be that way. But some of these guys might just be a one-off, and like you said, it might be more work than they were expecting. It might be something cool that they get out there. But I'd be really hesitant on some of these guys that are just essentially dabbling in comics if they don't specifically say, I've got plans for this is going to be a 3-book arc or something. They may never they may just decide it isn't as fun as they thought it would be.
Right.
It'd be a lot easier to spend money designing a new t-shirt or hoodie.
Right. Is
Now-
Razor Fist a one shot or is it a series?
I don't know. I haven't looked
I
into
don't
it
know
enough.
either.
I haven't even decided if I'm going to back it or not. I like Razorfist. I own both of his books. I like the concept of this. It's a Western, so it's right up my alley. Just George was such a weirdo when he was kind of in our space for the brief 5 seconds that he was here, that I'm really hesitant to throw anything that he's going to be involved with. It was really a disappointment to me that that's who Razor picked out of all the great artists in the space. That's who he decided to team up with. But hey, man, he's over almost at 200K, if not there already. I haven't checked it this weekend, so who the hell am I to say anything? He's doing great. So God bless him on that. But kind of going back to what you were saying too, Ravener, is there's this weird aspect of the grass is always greener. And it kind of goes back to, again, what we always talk about. And there's Hojo in the chat, who I was just complimenting. And Unhinged, even when I'm streaming, I'm drawing comics or doing art of some kind. YouTube is a means of promotion. Comics are the gig. Yeah. And it's vice versa for a lot of these talking heads that have YouTube channels. YouTube is their gig, and comics are a secondary profit vehicle. And that's fine. Profit's not a dirty word. But when you're talking about that, it is important to reference that, that their first gig is one thing. And if you've been around long enough, you can see how that can impact the delivery on something.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. So, but back to the boycott idea. I mean,
Well,
how should consumers even respond to that? I mean, should
I
they
don't-
pay
I
anything
think,
for it?
man, I'll just call it a one-man boycott and say,
It-
good luck
Yeah.
with that, dude.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know anybody, at least in my circle, and I'm a diehard comic fan. So I've been buying off of Kickstarter since 2012. And I've never stopped. I've backed at least one book every year since 2012. Top Cow does all of their omnibuses over there. I'm not going to stand by and miss out on a Mark Silvestri signed hardcover omnibus of, The Darkness, just because somebody else had some kind of issue. I don't care, man. Again, this goes back to the price point thing too. I don't care. I don't care how much, even if you're my friend, I don't care how much your money you invested in the book. If it's something that I'm going to back, I'll back. If it's something that I won't back it. It doesn't matter to me how much you put into it or not. I'm looking for value for my money, and I want to buy what I want. And
Right.
maybe that makes me weird, but in my head, that makes me we used to call those consumers. And that used to be how the market worked. Was consumers bought things that were of value that they were interested in, and if you valued it enough to purchase it, you did. And it had nothing to do with parasocial relationships. Now that parasocial relationships seem to be what everything's about, I guess I'm like a square wheel on a wagon, man. I'm kind of a useless ass over here.
Yeah. Well, I mean, as a backer, I'm going to go where the product is. I'm not doing a boycott. The whole idea is to try to, like, I don't know, peer pressure, or like the thing about peer pressure though, like pressuring other like creators to avoid a platform, you have to provide some sort of incentive, not just, hey, hamstring yourself to no benefit. And I'm actually more likely to avoid a creator who's chest thumping about boycotting than I am to avoid that platform. So that's something, if you're going to do it, make sure that it's going to be worth it for you as a creator. But
yeah, I mean, if you're telling other creators not to use a specific platform, but you're not giving them the some alternative means of getting their books out other than you build your own platform. Well, that takes a long time. That's not something that happens overnight.
Right. But also carve out exemptions for your buddies too, to the boycott,
Right.
And, well, and they did. I mean, and believe me, there's nobody that's a bigger fan of Tucci than me. I've bought everything on both platforms, all platforms. But when you exempt, just because he's sitting at your table, you get to exempt him. Well, wait a minute. A boycott with exemptions isn't really a boycott.
Right.
Same thing. Wait, who's doing the letters on Godlike, by the way? Oh, wait.
So, yeah, I'm pretty sure that's Eric Weathers, who did announce this week that he will be launching Battlebrick Road 2 on his own website, Indiegogo, and Kickstarter.
Well, I'll be backing on one or more of those platforms.
Yep, definitely.
No, so, and granted, I mean, the difference is, right, and we've talked about this before. We talked about this while we here on Comic Talk shilled the Expanse book that Boom Studios was doing. Both Jeremy and I backed that. I recently just got my backer kit ID from them and had to pay my shipping. And that's the difference, right? It's do you pay ahead of time? Do you pay after? Yeah, it's some people take issue with it. If you're only used to Indiegogo, it's a little weird that after it closes, they take your initial contribution, and then 2-3 weeks later you get an email saying, hey, you owe this for shipping, and you're like, wait, I already backed it. No, that's just how Kickstarter works. So it's a little bit different, but it's no different than you can go over to Shopify, like on Eris site, and you can buy $40 worth of merch, and you can distribute that $40 over 3 months and pay it in installments. You still get your book, but you're paying it off in installments. And that's every way, any way you can do it. Again, it's about what works best for the consumer. And I don't understand why any creator would be, quote unquote, leaving money on the table and alienating anybody. Be in every place you can.
Yeah. I mean, if anything, you've got Barnes and Noble is probably a corporation. It's probably woke, just like all these other things. But that shouldn't stop people from trying to get on the shelves there, like Raiden did for his book. It shouldn't stop them. You want to get your product out to people who are going to buy it, and you have to have people see it in order to know it's there. They're not necessarily going to be on a stream on YouTube, so you can't limit yourself, and you can't limit yourself on the word of someone who's not really going to be helping you to get the word out for your book either.
Yeah. And and to be fair, and I have to be fair. So the one point they did make was, they can't promote everybody, and some of the stuff. I mean, especially Ethan specifically said, some of the stuff just isn't good, and
Yeah, no,
he
that's
ain't
fine.
lying there either. Some of the stuff isn't good.
There's a lot. Like I said, I think it was easily 60% of the stuff that I've backed over the last 5 years. If I had it over again, I wouldn't back it. 40% though, the stuff that is good is immensely good, and that's what I
Yeah.
think really separates this indie scene from the mainstream. Is yes, I can go and get lukewarm milk toast books if I flip through them and scan them and look at who wrote and who drew it. I can find great books that are, or not great books, I can find good books with the occasional great book. In the indie scene, you've got books like Downcast by Clint Stoker,
Right.
Battle Brick Road by Eric Weathers, that are great books that are out there. And yeah, if I've got to buy 2 or 3 dogs to get to one great book, I'll take it,
Yeah.
because that's just the scene. So it is worth it for the quality of books that you do get. And Jeremy, thank you so much for joining us again.
Yeah. And you don't necessarily know what something is until you get it. I mean, I'll give an example of Octopus Cowboy, which I took a risk on, and it's a great book. It's a really good book.
And he's coming out with a number 2. Didn't he announce recently?
I think so, yeah.
Just signups or campaign for it?
Yeah, he is doing a
He has
second.
signups.
Yeah, I think the sign up is already active. Yeah, it might be.
Good.
Yeah, but I love what Eric Weathers is saying here, and this is the mindset that all creators should have because at the end of the day, this is a business, and you want to maximize your potential to as much as you possibly can. And Eric is out there doing cons, Kickstarters, IGGs, signing at local shops, and free comic book day sketches for kids, and that's only the beginning. And that is the kind of outreach you need to do, because I heard you guys mention earlier, and I saw someone saying it in the chat too. Promotion is all well and good, but like Aldous said earlier, it's one thing to launch on Bancroft's channel than to come over here. Yeah, you're gonna get some crossover that is a little bit different, but largely you're going to be marketing to a lot of the same people. You need to start reaching outside of our normal circle that we kind of dip our toes into on the daily basis here in indie comics. And that's how you do it. You got to get out there. You got to get to cons. You got to get into local shops, see if they'll carry your book. Free comic books, giving out sketches for kids on free comic book day is a great way to get some exposure and to get some good word of mouth. And that's the stuff that I would love to see more creators, doing. And it seems like a lot of people are kind of content only to promote on YouTube and YouTube only. And YouTube is great. I feel like YouTube should definitely be the main promotional hub, but it shouldn't be the only one.
Right. Well, like I guess there's a good corollary. How many people have Rumble channels? Like, is it okay to go to Rumble? Can we promote on Rumble? Like, nobody's asking that. And that to me is the same. It has the same level of asininity to ask, can we promote on Rumble too? Should we go to Kickstarter? Like, who cares? Get yourself in front of anybody you can. Like Weathers is saying.
Just get eyes on.
You don't have to ask permission from anybody to promote your stuff.
Exactly.
Wherever you want to sell it.
Yeah, you just get eyes on, as many eyes as you possibly can. That is the goal at the end of the day. Is the goal. I saw Jay Lee saying something. There it is. Jay Lee did a con 2 weeks ago, and it was fantastic, awesome. And yeah, that's the way, man. You get out there, and what's the old saying? Shake some babies and kiss some hands. Or is it the other way around? But no, that's it. I mean, I personally like seeing a lot of creators are starting to dip their toes into Kickstarter and some of these other sites. We're seeing a lot of people create their own sites. Fund My Comic is starting to take off, and I know a lot of people are going over there to try something. There's no such thing as too many options as far as I'm concerned. Like I said, I'm not a creator. I'm only a customer. I am going to go wherever the platform is that is selling the product that I want to buy. I'm going to go to that platform. I'm not an Indiegogo only guy or a Kickstarter only guy. I'm going to go wherever I can find a good product. But no, it's nice to see people dipping their toes into the Kickstarter debate and realm, because why not? Why the hell not? Why shouldn't we try and get as many eyes on your books as possible and try to convert some readers over there?
Absolutely.
And we've talked about it before, and don't just limit yourself to, I mean, if you start up a channel and even if you stream every day and you think you're doing the right thing because you're being consistent or whatever, but you're talking about the same stuff that a half a dozen other people have already talked about in the last, 24 hours, you can't really wonder why you're not gaining momentum.
It's not getting traction.
Yeah, some of these, and there are different. I mean, you might even. I mean, someone might even want to go more political, like become more of like a political commentator type thing, rather than just talking. I mean, and then work their comic in as a sideline, or talk about manga, talk about anime, if that's what somebody likes. There's somebody out there that likes that, and it doesn't have to. We're not limited to this same 1,200 people or whatever.
Right.
There is a world outside of our little circle. And as much as people want to clamp down and control and make you struggle, we'll take our section, and then everybody else just scramble and try to strive for table scraps. Well, no, how about we just go build a different table?
That's it.
Yeah.
And I know we hear people talking about, the proverbial pie. How big is the proverbial pie? And I think the pie is potentially limitless. I mean, obviously, it's certainly not limitless right now. I mean, we did a stream, I believe it was last week or the week before, where we took a good close look at the numbers from year to year. And there's no secret. The sales have consistently been going down ever since 2020. But I mean, there's a lot of factors that factor into that. And I do think a big part of that is us kind of, not oversaturation, but kind of oversaturation to a degree, because there's so many creators coming out with so many books marketing to the same exact customer base week in and week out. And you're starting to see some of the campaigns that would, like a campaign that would have launched in 2019, 2020 would have, done 30, 40K. These days is lucky to hit 10. And there's a lot of factors that go into that, but I think a big part of it is we are exhausting our fan base. We got to get some new and more eyes on these books, and the only way we're going to do that is if we reach outside of our circles, because I feel like we haven't reached the ceiling. Of course, there is no ceiling, but in terms of the the local ceiling, we're starting to hit there. It's we got to get some fresh eyes in here, some new eyes.
And to be honest, man, as somebody who backs a lot, I almost enjoy it when these guys make asses of themselves, because it makes it so easy to pass on their next thing. And I mean, sometimes I have to jot it down. I have to jot down like what they did, because it'll, between campaigns, it'll be 2 years. I might forget what they said or did, but I'm like, oh yeah, now I can pass on that guy. But the thing is that money goes somewhere else. It does go somewhere else. It goes to a different creator. It goes to a different product or project somewhere. It's not like I actually use the money for something productive or good. But no, I do take a lot of chances on these guys and stuff. But
it is that you are taking a chance at the end of the day. At the end of the day, backing a crowdfunder product it's not exactly like just buying a product retail. There is risk involved, but that's part of it. We take that risk like the creators do, but hopefully, you like to see a return on your investment. But like you said, that just kind of makes you. It just kind of shows you who you will and won't back in the future, of course. Paul Ogg for $4.99. Thank you, Paul, for the $4.99 super chat. I'm a backer. I'll worry about the site you're on once I actually know that you have a book being funded. Now, that's a good question. Yeah, a lot of people talk about platforms and all of this where they don't even have a book ready. So, got to make sure you have a book too. That is first and foremost. I got erection says spread like herpes. That is it. Spread like the clap. Go to hit every toilet seat you possibly can, as far as I'm concerned. But no, I mean, why limit yourself? I totally understand why, the kind of anti-Kickstarter stance back in the day when they were actively keeping creators off of their platform. That I totally understand. But these days, it seems like it's a much different Kickstarter these days. We're seeing tons of creators go over there and not have any problem at all. So why limit yourself? Why limit your business? Try, maximum potential, maximum profits. And the only way to do that is to go everywhere and try and get as many eyes on as possible. And you're not going to do that if you only stay on Indiegogo. Eric Weather says, I can't stay. I must bid you farewell for now. Have a great stream. Back Downcast 4 and sign up for Battle Brick Road 2. Hell yes, I second both of those. Definitely check out Downcast 4 and Downcast 1 through 3 if you need to catch up, like I am going to be doing as well.
Yeah, man. And good for him for, I mean, whether he wanted to or not, he's kind of, I mean, along with a handful of people that are like stepping out of line, you know, and saying, look,
I don't think it's stepping
I've
out
got to
of
do
line.
what I got to do. Well, yeah. Stepping out of the arbitrary line somebody made for him.
You know, I think at the end of the day, people are adults and they're going to, you know, people should run their business how they see fit. And I think that's what we're seeing.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you have to, you're putting food on your table. Nobody else is doing that.
Exactly. Yeah. Don't forget the down clap for. Shit.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. The villain of all time, the most devious and evil person, Clint Stoker. Yeah, believe that, or if you will.
Yeah.
I'm not buying that villain narrative. You know, Clint seems all right.
The worst villain ever. If he's
right.
No, Clint's an all right guy. Clint's
the nicest guy in these parts, and then he's somehow a villain. It's ridiculous.
Right.
Yeah, well, everybody's gonna have enemies at the end of the day. This is online. No one's gonna get along with everybody. It's that's just the nature of the beast. But no, Clint's a great guy, and I have heard nothing but great things about the Downcast series. Snuggie cannot speak more highly about it. So I'm going to be catching up on it. I'm going to be backing all 4, and I'm looking forward to getting into it, and then having Clint back on the channel and talking a little bit about some Downcast shit. Because at the end of the day,
I already backed Clint. You know, big time too. So I'm not buying the villain narrative.
No, at the end of the day, we want everybody to get along, but it's impossible at the end of the day. There's too many different personalities, and whenever you have an online movement like this, there's always going to be people that butt heads, and that's fine. That's totally fine. We're all adults at the end of the day. Not everybody has to get along and like each other, but just keep it copacetic, stay to your own corners. But it's the mudslinging. Yeah, it's not cool. It's not a good
right.
Yeah.
No, and that's I think this is why I love this show so much, is because we all do disagree slightly on all of these important topics, and Jeremy's here saying everybody's an adult, and I present multiple empirical evidence that they're not.
Yeah.
So we have our own opinions, but we all can come together and at least have a rational discussion without then immediately firing up a follow-up stream to this and yelling about what Jeremy said or what Snuggie said. Or I always agree with Ravener as president of the Lord Ravener fan club, so that would never happen.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. We don't brook any dissent in the LR fan club.
Yeah, you gotta keep it. Run a tight ship there. But no, it's just one of those things. You would love to see everybody get along, but unfortunately, that's just reality. That's just reality. Not everybody's going to get along all the time, and that's cool. Yeah. That's cool. But
when there's a common thread,
the mudslinging. Mudslinging is not fun.
If everybody you've worked with hates you, there might be a common thread. Yeah.
Maybe. Shit. Don't know. Clint looks a lot like Lex Luthor. He does have a little bit of Lex look. No, Clint looks like Private Pile. That was the big thing, that when Clint first came around these parts, everybody was comparing him to Private Pile on Full Metal Jacket, which is incredibly accurate. He does look exactly like him.
He does, yeah.
Hojo gets along with
everything.
Yeah. You don't want to piss him off. You don't want to. You definitely don't want him singing "This is my rifle" in the middle of the night. There are many like it, but this one is mine. Hojo gets along with everybody. There's a reason not to. Yeah, I mean, I try to get along with everybody. I mean, I know there's plenty of people out there that maybe don't like me or my takes, and that's totally fine. I mean, like I said, this is I'm an adult. I have thicker skin than most. But yeah, I try to get along with everybody. And at the end of the day, there's always going to be people that you don't like or don't like you. But that's fine, and that's totally fine. That's why you try to just find like-minded people who you do get along with, that you have stuff in common with, and try to stick to that. That's what I try to do. And that's what we try to do here. But yeah, as far as the whole Kickstarter boycott debate goes, I mean, I don't really want to spend too much more time on it, because I feel like it's a really stupid topic to begin with. But me personally, I think, I'm not a creator, but if I was, I would be trying to maximize my business to its full potential. I totally, like I said, it's not 2018, 2019 anymore. I totally understand the hard stance against Kickstarter back in the day. And I'm not one to ever boycott something in perpetuity. I don't know. People are welcome to do whatever they want. I mean, that's totally cool. But if I was a creator personally, yeah, I would be trying to maximize my business. And that's the thing. Not every creator needs Kickstarter like some of the smaller guys do. So that not everybody is operating on the same playing field, so to speak. Not everybody needs that, those extra eyes like a lot of these up and coming smaller creators do who are just trying to make a name for themselves. Those guys, all of the smaller creators that are coming up, yes, I would highly recommend get out on every platform you possibly can. But yeah, at the end of the day, not everybody needs to. So that's cool.
Oh, yeah. Cool. And I did forget. Yeah. I mean, when you were talking about, we did last week watch, go point by point at the number of campaigns that had fewer backers than their previous one. Now, we do know that Shane just finished big with Rex 2.
Yeah.
But we're thinking, but that might, maybe screen cap this or whatever you want to do, but that might be the high point for CG. I'm wondering that might be one of the last guys, because we watched.
What do you mean high point? Like the biggest funding for the year? You think that is? That's
and then it turns the last one to actually put up good numbers, or like increasing numbers year over year. And he wasn't included in 2023 according to the Creator Go site, so I didn't add him on last week's compilation. But that might be, there's certain ones like Joe M. Sontag might have been like the last, like what we call like little guy to really hit big, when you could hang out a shingle and make 20-30K. And the backers come and the work comes in, and not to say he didn't put in the work. And we've got people really hitting it hard too. We got a lot of hustlers out there now, but these campaigns are just kind of like slogging forward,
It's tough, man. It's a tough time.
This economy, you say, well, you can't blame it all on the economy, but you can blame it some on the economy.
It's definitely a factor.
Part of it is,
yeah. But the one thing I have seen though with it may not be that you're pulling in less money, but there's more uncertainty. You're waiting for shit to get worse. You don't know how much worse, but you don't think that it's going to get better. So even if you have money, you're going to be more likely to hang on to it and stuff. And maybe, what used to be a $100 back might be just the basic $25 book back.
Right.
It might be more of an adjustment to your spending. You may not stop spending, but you might adjust it, and the adjustment's always going to be downwards.
Yeah, right. And that's the thing. I like to call them luxury purchases, because at the end of the day, stuff like this, it does kind of fall under that luxury purchase category. Stuff like that, once the economy gets bad and it starts to get a little bit worse, it's things like that. Those are the first things you're going to start budgeting off, because it's not a necessity at the end of the day. I think the economy is definitely playing a big factor into the kind of smaller numbers we're seeing this year from every year really. Right. It's just tough, man. This is a tough time of year to launch this year. I would be very nervous if I was launching something this year, if I was a creator personally, just based on what we've seen so far. But hey, that's the nature of the beast. It's going to ebb and it's going to flow.
Yeah, but I also think it's with anything. I mean, when you're talking the economy in general, it's never just one factor. It's never just the devaluation of the dollar or the inflation factor. You've got multiple other things going on, and just as multiple other things going on globally affect the country, multiple other things going on within the comic industry and the global economy play all into this. And while there are a lot of people like myself that don't care about late books, there are a good portion of people that do care.
Some do.
And when you don't, when you see, you'll see a lot of backers saying, well, I'm so tired. I've backed stuff, and I know I've got backed 7 things and I haven't gotten 3 of them. I'm not backing anymore until those show up. That is definitely out there. I think that's a much smaller percentage. You're probably talking 5 to 10%. Just again, empirically based off of what I've seen on the feed and in shows. I think the bigger issue, and this is what I see, is I see people that used to be buying really big tiers either have drastically lowered what they're backing because of a little bit of burnout, or they've stopped backing completely. I also see a lot of people that came in and became comic fans, and this is the coolest part, guys. They became comic fans, and now they're buying back issues of stuff that they find awesome. And you can see
Yeah.
that just from my DMs, man. I've had 2 shows now on the gutter. I've gotten 3 or 4 DMs on books that I'm talking about. Hey, where can I get this? Where can I find something like this? Oh, you're talking about these old Kirby's. You're talking about these old EC books. Where can I find them? Well, you can go find them here. You can go find them there. So people are going out and they're looking for more of this stuff that people are talking about. And that's awesome. Nobody in this space needs to be upset that people are going out and buying classic comics, because once you get into that, you're hooked for life and you will be continually buying books as long as you exist.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of awesome old content out there to discover for sure, and I've been dipping my toes into it recently as well. Been diving a little bit more into the bronze, golden, and silver ages.
No, it's addicting as hell. It's worse than crack. It is because
well,
the stories hook
that
you,
far.
man. Oh, it is, man. Screw hitting 5 gram rocks. You got to hit like five Kirby issues at a
Give me
time,
a fucking
man.
Kirby, yeah. Give me some New Gods. Yeah, it's there's a lot of good stuff to discover up there.
Yeah, and we're seeing new people coming to like our show. We're seeing new names on Bancroft's show. People that have come in the last 3 months, 6 months, and stuff. And God bless them. Remember, the Tonpa guy, the Comics for Everyone guy who reposts everybody.
Yeah.
I'm seeing like new names doing the same thing, but they may not. But what'll happen from time to time on Twitter is they'll promote somebody like brand Way of the Gun or something, and you're like, oh man, don't do that one. And it's still shown as a live campaign on Indiegogo, just like I think like Black Flag or something. You're like, you don't want to get, but they don't know the lore. And evidently when they're looking for links, they're not realizing that these are not the ones that you want to put out there, because they're never going to be received. And what'll happen is if somebody does say, oh, that looks cool, and then backs it without checking the 48 pages of comments on the campaign saying, where's my book?
Right.
That does kind of look bad. Yeah, KSS Black Flag. I remember that book. Hey, but don't worry, the layouts are almost done.
Almost
done. Wow.
He did announce that they are almost done. So, what if we want to? What's the over under? Like 4 years?
I like Dan. I'm friends with Dan. I don't know.
No, dude, I love Dan too.
I think no. I just want to say, I know that book is incredibly late, and I totally understand people being frustrated for it. And just to to see that it's only at the layout parts, yeah, it's a little disappointing. I do think Black Flag will eventually come out. When, it remains to be seen, but I do think Dan will eventually get that book out. But yeah, I don't know. I always have faith in Dan at the end of the day.
No, absolutely. And here's the thing. I mean, as soon as he fulfills Black Flag, I will gladly back whatever his next project is. I love Black Flag. I love Fraga. But much like a lot of these other guys, man, I've learned my lesson, and I will back one campaign. And then,
at a time,
you're not getting anything else until you fulfill.
I'm there too. I'm at the point where I can't remember the last time I've backed multiple open campaigns. There's just so many books that I have on my list that I need to back. I'm not going to back 2 open books. I'll wait till I get one, and then if it's still in demand, then maybe we'll see. But
it did work out in my favor though, because I did manage to get my copy of Warts and All cheaper off of eBay than if I would have backed the campaign. So that was a bonus.
Yeah.
Yeah, as a Warts and All backer, I fucking love that.
Yeah, flash sales are awesome.
And Mr. Von Stugel says, don't worry, Detective Dead and Sovereign are on the way.
Oh, and don't forget Conflict, Claws Out. That's another one from back in that era. That's
I don't think Detective Dead or Sovereign are going to be coming out. Personally, those 2 I have given up on. But I still got faith in Dan and Black Flag. Back Shinobi Sasquatch, never coming out. Back Shinobi never coming out. Sasquatch.
Well, you got to understand with Shinobi, Rob Willis is busy doing, covers for
Every
everybody
other
other
project,
than that. My personal favorite though is when Rob shows up at an auction with original Shinobi pieces that have nothing to do with the book.
And just kills it. Yeah, rakes in thousands of dollars. It's pretty funny.
I did hear though the other day somebody DM'd me just in a casual conversation that he got what was the Carlo Rowe one?
Deathsworn, which we've seen pictures of it done.
That's been
he
delayed for the last
the
last 2-3 months or so. I've been seeing those pop up, so people are getting those. Yeah, I wonder if he's going to launch a second one. That's a big question.
He should. You know what he should do? He should launch a second chance campaign.
Oof.
That would be fantastic right now.
Yeah, I'm very interested. I'm very interested to see if Carl's going to launch something else, because I know originally he had multiple Deathsworn issues planned. So it's going to be interesting to see if he tries to make a return.
I mean, he'd have to have balls big as church bells to come to this community and try to sell that shit again.
Well, we've seen worse comebacks actually. So we've seen much worse comebacks than that. He at least fulfilled.
There's probably enough people that don't know the history that might get roped into
Exactly. There's probably so many people here who don't even know who the hell Carlo Rowe is, because I believe he hasn't been around in at least 2 years or so, or at least a year and a half. It's been a while. So yeah, there's probably plenty of people who don't even know who he is. But yeah, no, Deathsworn was a great looking book. So it sucks to see that happen. I feel like Carl was one of those up and coming creators who really, really could have done well here. Like he had the potential to do 6 figures. He had a lot of hype around him. He had good art, a good story that people really wanted to see, and he was getting promoted by everybody. He really had a chance to do really well here. And yeah, it'll be interesting to see where he goes from here, though, because I was a fan of his when he first came around. But
yeah, for sure, man. I back
Yeah.
it too, man. I'm waiting for my book, looking forward to it, just like everything else. C. Krager very possibly could win the chat for the evening with his comment of who can build a betting website on when books will actually be fulfilled.
Oh man, the over-unders. Ooh.
That would be a sight to behold right there.
Oh my God, man. Can you imagine?
Pool. Let's get a betting pool going.
Can you imagine what the plus minus would be from
on
launch
Detective
day?
Dead,
and then as it extends out further, like, man.
What would you throw the over under on Detective Dead these days? 200 to 1?
Oh God, no. I'd put it at like 6 to 7.
Well, Kanan sent one for Brand 2 saying that they're still working on pages for...
Right. You'd have to have sunsets, right? So you'd have to say, like, will this book come out in the next 30 days, 6 months, 1 year, right?
It can't just be in perpetuity. It's got to be it's got to be a time period.
It'd be like a certificate of deposit at your bank. Like, I will give you, 200% interest if you think that something's going to come out in the next year.
Hey,
that hasn't come out.
Bancroft Mel, this sounds like a perfect add-on to CG Now. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
We
nice
might
little
do
betting pool.
Might as well throw in a creator Deadpool too while we're at it. Pick out who's going to die before something fulfills.
Right. Well, we'll know it's a good idea.
Well, that's actually already happened, believe it or not.
Oh,
there was someone who backed a campaign, and unfortunately they passed away before the book was able to fulfill, and that sucks, man. You hate to fucking see that. That's horrible, man.
Yeah, it's like tragicomic because you're reading. I can't remember who it was.
And recently James Hayes, may he rest in peace. He was that
big fucking guy,
backer.
man. He was nothing but good things to say about everything.
Yeah, he backed everybody, man, and that was really cool. And I applaud Dark Gift for helping him out with it. Right towards the end there, when he knew, he didn't have a whole lot of time left. Apparently, he was just giving all of his books away over on Dark Gift stream anonymously. He didn't. I guess they were just giving books away. So that was really cool. And yeah, man, you just hate to see something like that. I remember seeing that guy in all the chats. He's been in our chat plenty of times. It just sucks. You hate to see someone go before their time like that. But yeah, it was cool. He was giving away all his books to the community, and that's cool. Really?
Yeah, that was incredible. Then you see, like, in the chats, people are like, "Hey, my cancer's in remission. I might actually get, something." Oh man, come on. That.
Yeah.
KSSS says last time I saw Carlo Rowe, he was drunk, taking off his shirt, saying the word "tree" like tree, and then he fell down the steps. Never saw him again. I remember that stream. I remember
that was
stream
epic,
like it was
man.
yesterday. That was an awesome stream. Yeah, I believe that was like the first time we really saw Carlo Rowe drunk, because I don't remember seeing him drink on stream much. He was always very quiet. He wasn't really animated on stream. He was very quiet and reserved. And then one night he just got fucking hammered out of nowhere, and yeah, he fell down those stairs, and I don't think we saw him again for like a month until he popped up on the Wanger cast.
Yeah, it was, and that was the first night that I finally believed he was Irish. So
Tree, yep.
Up till then, I thought he was just a poser. But
it's all punk, man. It's punk. But yeah, that's yeah. It'll be interesting to see what he does. It'd be cool to see if Carl tries to come back and launches another campaign. Like I said, we have seen worse comebacks than that before. At least he did eventually get the book out.
And he was a good artist. I mean, that was the thing.
Good, yeah.
We get these wonderkins or whatever, every once in a while, there's a lot of average people, a lot of people just getting their start who need to put out their first comic so they can get on to their second and then improve their game.
Yeah.
But sometimes when people have a pretty high level of sophistication early on, you just want to see more of it. And that's what made it tragic. I think when I backed Death Sworn, it was in like Confederate currency. That's how long ago.
So we don't. Mo, for whatever reason, has just been ghosting us lately. He won't return our calls. He doesn't talk to us at all here in the chat. But we do have somebody that is working on their first book in the chat that just showed up that also gets ghosted by Bancroft. Skip Edwards, welcome, sir. Good to see you.
Welcome, Skip. Welcome, Skip. And yes, everybody definitely sign up for Skip's book. That looks just absolutely insane. I know we talk a lot about artists, some of the most improved artists that we've seen from last year to this year. And Skip is definitely in that category, without a doubt. His book is looking phenomenal.
Right. Yeah. The only other thing I want to say, too, is KSS, hopefully with age comes wisdom and responsibility. Oh, hopefully. You sweet summer child.
Yeah, you certainly hope that would be the case, but unfortunately, it's doesn't always work out that way.
No, it certainly does not, man. But happy birthday either way, KSS.
Yeah, man. Happy birthday to KSS.
Yeah, the thing with Skip is, I mean, normally you see him and like when they put out their art, it's in the line art, and then people are like, "Oh man, when can it be colored?" This is one of the few where people are like,
"Yes,
no, can we get
Don't
it
you
in the
dare color
non-colored
that
form?"
shit?
Right?
Yeah.
So that was interesting to see. So I really want to see where this one goes.
Sleight definitely. Yeah, definitely sign up for Sleight of Hand if you haven't already. Snuggy's got it there, and KSSS has it in the chat as well. Thank you guys for dropping the links. Thank you, Felix. Thank you to all the mods. You guys have been killing it as always. But yeah, that's basically that's kind of all I have to say on the Kickstarter boycott topic there. I feel like we kind of covered it to as best we could. At the end of the day, it's we're only customers, so we don't really have that. That's really not our decision to make. That is up to you guys, you creators who are planning on launching books. I say do what's best for your business, and I think what's best for your business personally is to try and maximize its potential to get on as many platforms as possible. But at the end of the day, every creator needs to run their business as they see fit, and that's what they're going to do. But yeah.
Sure. So the big question, closing this topic out before we move on, Snuggy. Will there be a Bookmarks versus Sticker Kickstarter campaign?
Ooh.
Uh-oh. I don't know.
Excellent. Thank you.
Put him on the spot.
Stay tuned.
Good answer.
Maybe. We might.
I
might
Snuggy's
do it.
thinking?
I'm still.
Snuggy's thinking.
Mind your business, lady.
But no, I guess we'll have to stay tuned and see if our boy Snuggy ends up doing a part 2 to the Stickers versus Saga.
I'm just thinking the Second Chance campaign. Those are all the rage right now.
They are all the rage.
Yeah.
Well,
but I
to
already
buy the same thing I already have again.
But
I know you messed up. You fulfilled first. It's okay.
Bookmarks versus Stickers versus Waifu campaign on Kickstarter, says Krager. Yeah.
Oh, Krager, I was agreeing with you up until now. I had no idea you were a weeb.
Well, I just found out about Stugel. See, he always said Bandmate. Listen to Bandmate. I was like, oh, well, maybe that's his band. Maybe it's him and some buddies about it. No, it's Japanese girl band that dress like maids. So I shall now dismiss anything he says.
Well, no, send me the link. I'll just listen to it on mute.
No, that might be something. No
Will be
wonder he's
something.
Danny team. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, someone's got to be Team Danny. And I respect him, holding strong.
That was said with such disdain.
I have no disdain for anybody in my chat. You guys know that.
No,
And
no,
Matt Barr,
I'm
we're
sorry.
jumping right in, Matt Barr. You got here just in time.
Yes, Matt Barr, you got here just in time for the Dune talk. We literally just finished the Kickstarter boycott topic that has been very hot this week in our parts. But yes, we are moving on to Dune right now. And I guess there's really nothing else to say, but other than to dive into it. Dune Part 2. We got our first look last week at a exclusive first Vanity Fair look, and Vanity Fair usually always gets these scoops. For some reason, that magazine always gets the first scoops on stuff.
Oh, we lost him again.
We lost Jeremy.
Nope. Oh no. Okay, so Vanity Fair gets the first scoops on stuff because they are primarily a magazine that is
stills.
There we go. There
we go.
Am I back? There we
Yeah,
go.
we
back.
lost almost everything you said after
Jesus
Vanity Fair.
Christ. Yeah, Vanity Fair has, for some reason they get the early scoops every year for all of the big projects, which is awesome. And this year they did not disappoint with this Dune 2 first look. And let's go through these and see what we can see and talk a little bit about it, because I know we got a lot of Dune fans, both on the panel and in the chat, and rightfully so. Dune is one of the best series out there. Honestly, for me, after A Song of Ice and Fire and Lovecraft, it's Dune. That is the next favorite for me in terms of IPs out there, and I'm loving exploring Dune right now. And I highly recommend everybody get out there and read them. If you have not read the books, get into them. I am currently reading them right now. I'm on the third book. Aldous has read them, and I know a lot of you guys have read them as well. Definitely get out there, read those Dune books, because we're going to be talking a lot of Dune on the channel, waiting for this movie to come out. And let's go through some of these, shall we? Now, of course, the first one we get Shawnee and our boy Paul Atreides. Now, this looks like it's probably, from what we know of Dune Part 2, it is picking up right where Dune 1 left off. There's no time jump. There's no anything to explain, and I love that Denis Villeneuve is doing that. I hate these kind of time jumps that you have to explain sometimes. It's nice to just pick up where you left off. And that is what we're going to be doing here with Dune Part 2. We're going to pick off right up in the desert where the first movie ended. And here, this definitely seems to be very early in the movie. It seems like Paul, I know you can't really see his eyes here yet, but I doubt his eyes are very blue here yet. But our next image we get, here it is. Now, this is Paul. When I think of Paul Atreides out there in the desert learning the Fremen ways, this is what I picture. I feel like they are just nailing the aesthetics and the visuals for this perfectly. Yes, I like it. Let's see what else we got. Scroll down a little bit. That is probably right after he drank the water of life. Yes, here, yes, I imagine it could be. Or, yeah, maybe even the one before it. It definitely could be. Matt Barr loves the books as well. Awesome stuff. Yeah, the books are great, man.
My guess would be this is pre-Water of Life. To kind of go back into something that Jeremy said about the aesthetic of this image. If you go back to David Lynch's Dune, one of the main critiques is that they have they'll pull the still suit up over their head, but in almost all of the instances where you see them, they're never wearing the hood. It's always, they've got their head covered. This looks like they actually took that into account, because he's wearing a double cowl, which if you look at anybody in Arabia or in the Sahara, they've always got double cowls on, because you're looking to keep the sun as much as possible off your skin. So that's a great touch. I love seeing that. He's still got the still suit. He still breathe in through the mouth, out through the nose, so you can retain your moisture. It's excellent, aesthetically detailed for what the book describes as far as how they're going through it. Based off of how he's dressed and where he's at, it's probably pre-Water of Life. This is more than likely early on. And to Jeremy's point, there's no time jump. There is going to be a time jump, but they start this one off right where the first one ended, and then they're going to build to that time jump, which there's a lot of criticism in the community of fans about whether that was a good choice or a bad choice, because the question is, how are they going to do Thalmut or Chalmut, whatever his name is, as a kid? Because essentially Paul's a kid. He's 15, 16 years old, if not younger, at this part of the movie. And then after a period of time with the Fremen, he's in his mid-20s by the time everything really starts and the action starts rolling. So the question is this: he's a pretty slim-built guy. How are they going to get him built back up to the point where you buy that he's an imposing figure that's lithe and a good fighter?
Yeah, he's definitely going to have to bulk up at some point once we start to get to that Paul after that time jump when he's in his early 20s. But I feel like they did go with a pretty decent actor for Paul, because he is kind of believable as a 15-year-old, just as he is. I know he's not 15. I know.
Man, the internet again, right?
Yeah. He's got that not childlike look, but
he's gonna have to bulk up.
It's a baby.
Exactly.
Damn it, my connection is shit tonight, man. Holy fuck.
Pretty well. And mine's been rock solid. It's like we have cooties that we just passed.
Yeah, bro. Yeah. We'll get through these quick, and then we'll call her a night, because this is just fucking infuriating. But we do get our first look at the princess, and Florence Pugh is going to be playing her as well. Now, unfortunately, I was really bummed we didn't get any looks at our boy Christopher Walken as the Emperor Shaddam, but I have a feeling they're not going to reveal that until the movie.
No, that's too much of a draw.
It's too good. Yeah, it's too good. Christopher fucking Walken. Shit.
Well, the question is, like, what Walken's going to show up? Is it
what's he going to look like too?
Is it I carried this watch up my ass, Pulp Fiction Walken, or is it going to be like Pool Hall Junkies, like, you're a lion, you got to go kill? Like, which Walken?
Or is it going to be Kings of New York Walken? Like, what are we getting?
Yes.
What are we getting here? But no, I feel like she's a good. Fit to play Airline, I believe her name is. I'm blanking. Erlon, there it is. Florence Pugh. She seems to be blowing up. Everyone seems to be fan casting her in every freaking role these days, and you just hate to see it. She's like the female version of Henry Cavill. Everyone wants to see her in every role. But she is going to be a good addition to Dune, and a pretty interesting character that will have some interesting stuff, going forward, especially some good scenes probably between her and Shawnee, probably in maybe not this movie, but the next one. But yeah, what do you think about her casting? You feeling her, or?
Uleron's it's a bit player, unless they choose to do some of the narration work that kind of the first book has, where she's reading kind of the history and letting.
I imagine she probably will. I wouldn't be surprised if she's probably narrating the second movie.
It would make the most sense. I mean, that's how Lynch took it that way, and she is the best narrator because she is kind of a tertiary character at best. In the first book, she really doesn't do much up until the end of the first book. She really takes her a front and center stage in the later books as she becomes the concubine to Paul.
Which is why I think probably by the third movie she'll have a little bit more of a role to play.
Yeah, if hopefully this does well, and I think from all projections it's going to kill it. As a massive Dune fan, man, I watched the Lynch version for the first time in like '92, and never dreamed in my life that I would see another one, because this book is so heavy. It's not something that you'd ever anticipate, and it was a goddamn treat when the Sci-Fi Channel did their adaptation.
Yeah, it was good.
Though it was kind of cheaply looking and did not age well. Respectively because of the CGI.
It was very low budget.
Man, in a lot of ways it's like Babylon 5, that because it was so well written and such a good adaptation, it really still holds up. Yes, the CGI is bad, but they didn't rely on it. They relied on the actors. And when you do that, you still have legs. And that's why it works.
Nothing it seems like nothing seems to get outdated faster than CGI that isn't quite up to snuff. Whereas if you kind of lean a little bit more on your acting and your dialogue, stuff like that will stand the test of time of a little bit more, I would say. Up next, we got Shawnee, and I mean, in terms of the casting for Dune, I love just about every single casting in this movie except for this one. This is the only casting I'm not too excited about. I feel like Zendaya is just getting cast in everything these days, and it would have been a little nicer to have, you know, a lesser known actress play Shawnee, but is what it is, I guess.
Well, and
Yeah.
also, I mean, Paul is he's an aristocrat. He's been around beautiful women his entire life.
hmm
And he's seen beautiful women. This is not something. He's from a great house. He's the
Yep.
heir to the House Atreides, which is one of the arguably 3 or 5 most powerful houses in the Landsrock. And yet this is the chick he falls for. I think that's the miscasting. Like, she's just not striking. What you need here is somebody that's got, you know, rough edges, but still has a fierce femininity quality, and none of those words apply to her.
Who
She's
did
she's a competent enough actress, but
Yeah.
you know, as long as you're looking for the emotional range of, you know, an oak tree.
Right, right.
a oak tree with a bad attitude?
Mm,
Yeah.
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 Who did the Sci-Fi Channel cast in that? I forget. She's not in the Lynch movie, right?
Johnny
Shawnee?
Sean Young in the Lynch movie.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
right. But it's such a small part.
Yeah,
right?
she's
She doesn't really
she's
do much.
beautiful in the Lynch movie.
That's it. She
Stunning.
shockingly, Sean Young looks both really hot and sane.
Let's see, who is it? I have no idea who the actress is for the Sci-Fi Channel. I've never heard of her before, and I couldn't pronounce it if I tried.
Yeah, I can't think of it off the top of my head. I'd have to look it up. But one person we don't have to look up, and someone who has been just killing it as Gurney, and I'm really looking forward to seeing more of Josh Brolin in the second movie.
Yes, Campbell, I certainly do. There's everybody wishes that they could have a bearded Chani, I'm sure.
Yes.
Wearing 3D glasses and
Yes.
smoking while they drink scotch. That's what every Dune fan wants.
Well, if I was going to be cast as anybody, I would probably want to play either Paul Duncan or this guy right here, Gurney freaking Howell, because Gurney is one of the most badass characters in this franchise, and I can't wait to see what they're going to be doing with Josh Brolin. Josh Brolin's going to fucking kill it as Gurney.
No, and I hated this casting when it was announced because Brolin is
Jesus Christ, this connection.
Brolin is such a two-dimensional guy, and they seem like he's just dropping him into everything lately. But man, that scene when the Harkonnens attack in 1, and he draws his blade and kind of looks over his shoulder and does that, you know, follow me. Like, that's just epic with the bagpipes playing. He killed it. Really sells you in that moment that he's Gurney with you know, undisputed loyalty to the house. And he contrasts nicely with Duncan, who is more cocky and whereas he's steadfast, and that they really pull that off really well. So this was just it was epic. It's really going to be great to see what happens here. I'm not going to ruin the story like I did earlier for anybody that knows, but if you haven't read the books, the Gurney's story is really great. And there's a really powerful scene that if they do it right will easily eclipse the Patrick Stewart scene in the original Lynch adaptation of Dune.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I watched the trailer. I don't think did the movie credit. It seemed like I'm not quite sure what they were going for, but it was a bit more focused more on the actors and I think it could have brought in a little bit more special effects.
Yeah,
my
man.
back.
Yeah, you're back.
All right, yeah, this connection is fucking horrible. All right, I'm just gonna whip through these, and we are gonna shut it down because this is getting fucking annoying now.
Yeah, your mic sounds great though. That's the thing.
Yeah, I got a new headphones, so that's probably that. But up
your
next,
sound's great, man.
Yeah, the sound's good. It's just this fucking internet connection. It's this device. I'm not streaming from my normal device, and something is up with this fucking Wi-Fi. But up here, we got our first look at Fade Rafa, and unfortunately, it is not Sting in a bikini. So I'm sorry, Snug. I'm sorry, Snug.
Damn.
No Sting this time. But Austin Butler is going to be playing Fade, and I think that's pretty good casting. He's a pretty good actor. He recently just killed it as Elvis in the biopic, and he was pretty good in the Shannara Chronicles as well. So I'm looking forward to seeing him as in that role. And hopefully we get that epic knife fight in this movie as well. Here we go. The Baron Harkonnen himself. And they couldn't have cast a better actor than Stellan Skarsgård to play the Baron Harkonnen. The dude is just he's so versatile as an actor. He can cover a very wide range from villains to heroes to the anti-hero. He can kind of do it all. And he's very imposing. He's almost kind of scary as the Baron Harkonnen in that first movie. He was very imposing. He had really good screen presence, and I just perfect casting for the Baron. And look at they nailed the aesthetic of the Baron too, because that was one thing I didn't like about the John Lynch version. The way they made.
Yeah, they had some unusual stuff with that, with the milking cats, right?
Yeah.
That's not in the book, right?
No, and there's what's his name as the Beast Raban, and that's the only thing that I thought they kind of missed in the first one. They didn't really touch on the brutality of Raban as much as they probably could have. I'm sure that'll be like the first act. Really, will be kind of diving into that now that the Harkonnens are back in charge. The brutality that Raban extracts out upon the population of Arrakis will probably be the initial foil for the story. And kind of going back to what Jeremy was saying too, with the casting of Fade, you really need somebody that's got a power to them, a charismatic power with Fade, and based off of the Elvis movie, man, I think they cast this. I think it's a knock out of the park because he's really going to be contrast to Chalmette. He's taller. He's going to be more physically imposing, and he's more charismatic, which is everything that Fade should be, because he's kind of the black to Paul's white. Paul's a leader in a different sense. Fade leads in a different way, and they're both the apex of their particular houses, and that's a great ending to have those two as kind of apex markers, apex predators going at each other.
Yeah, nice. The casting overall was good in the first part, maybe with the exception of Aquaman, but everyone else, maybe Zendaya as well.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of Aquaman as Duncan. I really like Richard Jordan as Duncan. Duncan needs to have a really true sense of. There's definitely some cockiness there with the Duncan character, but he needs to have like a self presence and awareness that goes beyond
nobility.
Well, it goes beyond discipline. It's almost like an independent nobility.
Yeah.
He is a true independent in every way, shape, and form, and he gives his loyalty to the Atreides in a way that's not structured or really formatted in the story deeply. It's hinted at as to Duncan's motivations, but he's there because he truly wants to be, whereas even Gurney is a bondsman. He's bonded to the house. So there's a little bit of a different style there.
Absolutely, yeah.
But we seem to have lost Jeremy yet again.
Here he is.
All right. Well, I am back, and we are going to shut it down now because this is just fucking ridiculous. Yeah, I am. This is fucking. As Jay Ryan points out, streaming over Wi-Fi is just not. It's no freaking bueno. You need an Ethernet cable. Unfortunately, I am not at home, so I only have Wi-Fi. But we're gonna shut it down now. We'll probably talk some more Dune on the Witching Hour or some stream this week because this is just getting a little ridiculous now. But there we go again. Can you guys hear me or am I out again?
Yeah, we got you.
Shit. I thought it already dropped out. All right. Well, I want to thank everybody for joining us tonight. I'm going to shut this down before this fucking farts out again. But biggest thank you to everybody in the chat and on the panel. I love each and every single one of you. We will be going live either tomorrow night or Monday night for the live from after show. So anyone who has not checked out from, definitely get out there and catch up on that show. It is the best show on TV right now. And come and hang out with us. Either tomorrow night or Monday night, we will be doing a live from after show, and you do not want to miss it. Hottest show on TV right now. And I want to thank everybody out there for joining us, and we will see you again next week. Same bat time, same bat channel for another edition of Comic Talk Live, and we will see you guys on the next one. Bow.